Hey, Spuddies, Potato Whiskey here, and welcome to EU4. Today we're going to be trying to form Ireland. Will it work? We don't know. We are going to be playing as Tyrone because they start with 10% extra infantry combat ability, which is quite useful at the start of the game because infantry are cheap, and having 10% extra combat ability can make them a lot more valuable than cavalry pound for pound. Now, I probably don't need to explain to you that the fact that we are a single province here and we are surrounded by potential enemies as well as the great power England, that we're going to have our work cut out for us. Now, the first thing that we're going to do is to immediately start fabricating claims on Sligo. We're also going to take our army here. We're going to disband this cavalry because this cavalry costs us 0.55 ducats each month. And to put that into perspective, my total income is 1.76. I'm currently losing money. But if I sell this cavalry, aka delete it, and recruit myself 4 infantry in the free company, which will technically put me over my force limit, but force limit is just a number. Basically how force limit works is if you are above your force limit, you will pay extra maintenance on your units. But with 8 infantry, we will be able to completely knock out Tyrconnell. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to set Tyrconnell as our rival and declare war on them literally the second that we're able to, which should be on the 11th of December. This will be a humiliate rival war, which we're doing to activate the humiliate rival goal for the Age of Discovery, which will get us monthly splendor that we can spend on unlocking new abilities, and the most important of those abilities will be the +1 combat bonus in the terrain of our capital. That will be incredibly important because if we look at the terrain map mode, almost all of Ireland is forest, with the exception of the Pale, which is in fact grasslands. That means we will have a combat bonus on the entirety of Ireland, which will give us a really good ability to fight England for the Pale when the time comes. Hey! Do you love EU4 videos, and would you like to see me do more EU4 videos? Europa Universalis 4 is a fantastic game, and if you want to see me do more EU4 videos, make sure you click the like button, you subscribe, and you leave a comment, because only through engagement do I know, by people watching these videos and engaging with them, do I know it is worth my time to make awesome videos on this awesome game. I love you all very much. Please do that. Now, our main objective is to capture Connacht, Sligo, and Limerick. I don't know how to say this. Tuad Munain. Vidane. Listen, any Gaelgors, any Muntors? Tell me how to pronounce that. Yes, by capturing all 3 of these provinces, we will activate the Conquer Connacht mission, which will give us claims on the Munster and Ulster area. We also have a few other things that we need to take care of. We have estates in our country. We have a clergy, we have a nobility, and we have a burghers. There's a few things we need to take care of. First things first, we're going to go for a religious state here. This will get us +1 monthly administrative power, and we're going to go for the primacy of the nobility, which will get us +1 military power. Those 2 stats are actually incredibly important for us this game because our administrative power is going to be used to directly control all of this land once we conquer it, and the military power is going to be used to advance our military technology, which will allow us to fight England. Now, on top of that, I am actually going to focus on administrative power, which will technically slow down how quickly I can get military technology, but it will mean I'll be able to invest heavily and more reasonably in actually making this land work better for me. Okay, so that handles how we're going to do power. We are not going to be hiring advisors because we do not have the cash flow for that. That'll be a later game thing. We will be filling out some more estate privileges. I really like oversight by the clergy because it gives you +10 loyalty equilibrium, meaning your clergy will be more loyal. We're also going to go with religious diplomats for the diplomatic reputation, which will increase our ability to get alliances and all sorts of important things like that. While it does increase the power and influence of the church, that is a worthwhile trade-off in my opinion. I'm going to take clerical education for the small boost in reform progress growth. We'll talk more about that when it comes up. I'm also going to be taking religious culture here. Religious culture will increase the clergy loyalty by 5%, their influence by 10%. Oh, wait, no, I can't do this one yet, but this is one I will be doing later down the line. Because I want that plus 10% local tax modifier, the 10% local production efficiency, and the 10% manpower. It will cause problems in places that are not Celtic or Catholic, but that's something we'll deal with down the line. I am, however, going to sell 10% of my crown land for money right now, as this will get me through my first few wars, and then I'm going to immediately seize land because I've given my groups the loyalty they need. And we will be trying to seize land on cooldown. Now, when it comes to the nobility, we are going to be going for nobility officer rights, which will immediately allow me to grant a generalship, which will moderately upset the nobles, but give me access to a relatively strong leader. It's a little bit unfortunate that he didn't roll any siege pips, so our sieges will not be sped up. However, the extra combat ability from having a leader To put this into perspective, every single pip roughly increases the performance of your army by 10%, thereabouts, at least when it comes to fire and shock. So you add them together and divide by 2. So we've got a leader here that makes our army about 12.5% more effective. Now, when it comes to nobility as well, one thing that we will eventually want to do is to expand the fortifications because it will give us local defensiveness, which will help when England attacks us. I am going to take supremacy over the crown, which will increase the influence of all of my estates, thus increasing their bonuses, but it will also increase their loyalty, meaning I'll be able to seize land more often. I'm going to take the right of council for the military estate as well, which will make sure that the loyalty equilibrium for these guys is at 65%, which is pretty nice. 65% is really, really high. So eventually they will go up to a resting point where we'll be getting their positive bonuses across the board. When it comes to the burghers, I think a couple of easy picks here is promoting the burghers' bookkeeping. That'll give us lower interest, lower state maintenance, and lower inflation reduction. We're also going to go for financial demands from the burghers because this will give us construction reduction with a click. I'm also going to allow them economic freedom. I will give them access to private trade fleets, which will lower the cost of trade ships and increase our trade ship power. Eventually, I might consider that giving them control of our monetary policy. That might be a much more late game thing when power is not so hard to come by. I will definitely give them free enterprise though. Ooh, no, patronage of the arch is fantastic. 0.5 yearly prestige actually combines really well with Tyrone's ability to get +1 yearly prestige, meaning our yearly prestige resting point is really, really high, so we can actually spend prestige like a currency in certain events. The next thing we need to do is to sell off our ships. In particular, we're not going to need these transport ships for a very, very long time. We can sell one to Scotland for 10 gold, and our diplomat will return in 3 days and we can try to find someone else to sell them to. Once this regiment is recruited, I will go ahead and recruit myself another bark, and I will set my 8 transport ships to protect trade in the North Sea trade node where we collect our trade. I'm going to assign my other merchant to the Champagne trade node so that I can try to divert trade away from the English Channel, hurting England's trade income. It might actually be more profitable for me to privateer in the English Channel with my ships. However, I'm a little bit worried about England killing my boats when they hunt for privateers, so until I have a slightly stronger fleet, I won't be doing that. I'm also going to go ahead and call a diet. This will give my estates influence and loyalty. And I really like this proposal from the clergy, which is to improve the papal state's opinion of me to 100, which will get me +1 yearly papal influence. Speaking of the papacy, I am going to go ahead and talk to the Pope, and I'm going to buy an indulgence, which will get me 1 yearly papal influence for 5 years. And that yearly papal influence will be multiplied by my relationship with the Pope. Very nice. I'll sell my other 2 ships to Norway. It'll cost me a little bit of inflation, but it's not the end of the world, and it gets me 20 more gold, which I can then use to actually produce more military and potentially buy more mercenaries, depending on how things go. We also completed the agenda to improve papal relations instantaneously because the Pope's attitude improved to us because we bought an indulgence, getting us a whole bunch of papal influence. Papal influence is incredibly powerful if you're trying to develop your empire, particularly for things like church tax here, which gives you tax modifiers, as well as lowering the cost of construction. Very, very powerful way to multiply your gold efficiency. We are going to be a bastion of Catholicism this game in Ireland, and our plan is to basically take over Ireland and then see where we decide to go from there. I'm going to keep my spy building a Sligo. Sligo got an alliance with Scotland, which is annoying. So instead, I'm going to mark Offaly as my rival and immediately declare war on them. The second I have humiliate rival Casus Belli. There we go. We have the humiliate rival Casus Belli, and we want to humiliate our rival so that we can get power projection. We're going to take their capital. Clan Ricardo will come into the war, but we should easily be able to deal with this, even though they technically have a larger military than me. I have an incredibly powerful ability, which is to strike essentially before they're able to respond. And I should, in theory, be able to stack wipe this army if I hit them hard enough and fast enough. That's because my infantry have a 10% combat ability bonus, and I have more infantry in the battle, which means I'm getting to flank them and do more damage. Also, my general has higher stats, and in fact, we did manage to stack wipe them. Stack wiping is a mechanic where if you do enough damage and lower the enemy's morale fast enough, you actually fully rout them, they surrender, and you basically just completely wipe their army off the board. Our general has leveled up, meaning we will get more prestige and army tradition from battles, which is awesome. And now we're going to go ahead and take on Connacht. We are losing money right now, however, it is a relatively small amount, and we're about to try and stack wipe Clan Ricarda again. Now, this one might be a little bit harder to stack wipe, but even if we don't, even if they do get a chance to retreat, also we get a lot of prestige and army tradition from that, we should be able to catch them because they should retreat to Offaly because that's the only safe place that they can go. And we should be able to catch them here before they get a morale tick from a month ending and be able to completely wipe them in a couple of days of combat. And boom, there it is, right? Completely wiped off the field of battle. We didn't take any casualties. We got a bunch of prestige. We got a bunch of army tradition. Now I'm going to grab my mercenaries and send them over to Connacht to siege that down. I'm going to shift consolidate my units all together. And then I'm going to take the wounded regiments and put them onto my territory because they should regenerate troops faster on my territory. I believe it looks like my mercenaries got exiled due to some weird chain of events to do with military access being revoked. So we'll just have to kind of walk back over here. We will take on another small army, getting us more military tradition. I'm going to grab my fleet and put them in Dingle Bay so that we can put this under siege. I'm also going to go ahead and recruit an admiral. In case they come to fight me, we will have an admiral leading our fleet, which they probably won't have, giving us a slight edge in combat so that we're not at mercy of the dice rolls. All right, we're in combat with the enemy fleet. We have 8 boats. They have 8 light ships. We have a slight advantage because our military leader is giving us fire value. So it is a relatively even fight, and it is down to the dice rolls, but the fact that our leader has skills, right, we actually have a general in the fight, will mean that even our bad rolls, like a 1 on the D10, 0 is the lowest you can roll, and 9 is the highest, so it's a D10, means that our bad rolls aren't as bad as they could be, and on average, you can see here, even though we rolled poorly again, we're actually rolling even with them. What it really means is our good rolls should smash them. Like here, this is a 9 to a 5, and this is an 11 to a 2. Which should eviscerate them. Like ships should start collapsing on their front because we're doing so much damage. All right, we've fully recovered this troop, so we're going to go ahead and drop them on Wifelga. And it looks like we successfully won that boat action, getting us prestige, naval tradition, and some war score. But more importantly, it's useful to just win these fights, which means we'll now be able to blockade this port unmolested. And we're now officially sieging down Wifelga, also known as Offaly. And because we're looting money from our enemy territory, we're actually not losing cash right now. So France and England have declared war on each other, which means there is a very small chance that England will be forced to release Meath over here, which would make my life a lot easier. But it also gives me time to finish out all the wars I need to do on the island of Ireland. So how sieges work is pretty simple. Basically, you roll a dice. I think it's a D14. It's a 1 to 14 die. And depending on what you roll, you can get a bonus. Over time, if you roll high, you will get bonuses to your roll. So for example, you can see here, we have 7 siege progress, and that goes up to 12, which means we have a 7% chance to succeed. We did roll a 13, which would have been a really nice roll in like a couple of phases. But we get to do a phase every, 30 days? So now we've got a 21% chance every 30 days to take the siege. And we slowly build this up. And blockading ports for coastal fortresses is actually really important because if you don't blockade it, they're harder to take. So naval supremacy is actually quite important here, both in the ability to generate trade and also in the ability to have ports blockaded. Now, speaking of trade, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to set established communities. This will give me 15% improved relations. This is actually a very important ability because what it will do is, as I conquer land, people are going to get upset about that, and having higher improved relations will lower the amount of aggressive expansion penalty that I get. We successfully sieged down Connacht. Now, we can't actually take land in this war because we declared a humiliation war. But what we can do is take a bunch of their money. I'm going to fabricate a claim on Ulster, and then I'm going to bring that diplomat home so that I can peace out Mayo. I'm going to take war reparations and a bunch of money, and I'm also going to tell them to end a rivalry, purely just so that I can siphon prestige off them. This is going to get me 10 prestige. So I will send this demand to Clan Ricarda. It costs me basically nothing to just get a bit of cash. And these guys are so weak now that someone else will probably conquer them, which means I don't have to worry about having a truce with them. Effectively, I get a small amount of inflation and a nice boost of prestige. Prestige is really, really important because you can see here aggressive expansion impact as well as morale of armies. The higher the morale of your army, the easier it is to stack wipe someone else. So morale of armies is actually an incredibly important stat to get a hold of. Yep, somebody immediately declared war on the guy that I just beat down, which is hilarious because they're like, oh, this guy's vulnerable, attack immediately. So effectively, I looted Mayo or Galway, I guess this is technically. I looted Galway for prestige and money. I really need this siege to go through. I've been rolling really poorly. I need to roll above a 10 to get this to go through, and I'm rolling 8s. Really not good. This is why having cannons is really nice because you can breach the walls for a little bit of military power. And when you breach the walls, you get +3 to your roll. God, give me a better roll than that. This siege has been going on forever, bro. And RNG is very much so a big thing in this game because I have a limited amount of time before the 100 Years' War ends and England decides to turn its sights on Scotland, who I'm now going to start improving relations with, and Ireland. And If I can quickly conquer Ireland and become a very powerful ally of Scotland and feel threatened by England, we might be able to get a Giga alliance with France, Scotland and Ireland to take on England, and effectively reverse the power structure on the North Atlantic archipelago, which is the correct terminology for the thing that most people call the British Isles. You will not change my mind on that. Okay, it is so incredibly rare for a siege like this to go more than like 300 days. I cannot believe that took 570 days. That's going to put me actually so behind. The fact that this guy, my general didn't get a siege pip is devastating here. But I will take their money, I will humiliate them, and I will take war reparations. I'm going to go ahead and take this peace offer because I don't need to get anything else out of them. I will gain prestige, I will gain 30 power projection, and 25 money. Power projection is really important because if we can get above 50, we're in a very powerful position. Now, let's double check Ulster. Ulster is allied with Ormond, which means we do not give a damn about declaring war on them. So we're going to set Ulster as a rival. This is why you hold on to your rival slots. Boom. And that eliminates not having enough rivals, meaning we're up to 43% power projection, which again is more morale of armies. We're going to move our troops back. And the second these guys land in my capital city, we're going to immediately pounce on Ulster for the conquest. And by declaring war on our rival, we get another 10 power projection, meaning we're above the breakpoint of 50, which will get us +1 in all of the power categories. And we'll also get bonuses for actually conquering land from our rivals. Let's go ahead and smash this army. We have a good chance of breaking them. All right, the battle is going well. We rolled high. We rolled really, really well. We completely smashed the army. Now, we do need to turn around and deal with Ormond, but that's not for a little while. I'm going to dip my fleet back in to get a heal tick, because my fleet's a little bit damaged and I would like them to not be. And then I want to dip them out to actually help siege down this fortress. That's my fleet's main objective right now, is to try to... We rolled a 1, so we got a disease outbreak. Disease outbreak is literally the worst thing you can have, because it will actually mean that I take damage rather than the fortress. So rolling a 1 is really bad here. It's a 7% chance that I could roll a disease outbreak. Painful. I'm going to build a spy network in Ulster, because if I can get a little bit more spy network in here, we could potentially shave a few days off of the siege here. The higher your spy network with an enemy, the faster your sieges will go. You can see here I'm getting 0.2% spy network bonus. And I think in total, you need like about a 3% bonus, maybe like a 3.5% bonus to shave a day off a siege phase, which is quite handy. Yeah, I need to roll above a 6 to actually make the siege advance. Oh, there's a 12. Unfortunately, that was only a food shortage, a supplies shortage, which sucks. I could set a naval barrage to break this fort. However, I really need to get the military technology, so I don't think a naval barrage is the right move here. The 100 Years' War is still raging. Wow, we rolled another natural 1 on this dice. That's devastating. I've lost so much manpower in this attrition. Over 1,000 casualties to attrition in a single siege. For a relatively small army, that's actually painful. Boom, this is more reasonable. A single year to siege down a fort. So we just want to take the province, and we want to take their money. This will get us 13.7 aggressive expansion. We need to get Ormond out of the war. So who do I think is going to win this fight? Oh man, we're rolling poorly. I mean, we do have more ships than them. So as long as we roll... Well, we have more combat ships. So as long as we roll well, it should be fine. Our morale is slightly better too. Our shock value is equal, but our fire value is equal, but our shock value is better. Unfortunately, we're committed to this fight. They only have 4 ships left in the fight, whereas we have, I believe, 6 still left in the battle. And ours are actual combat ships. These are transports that are not very effective fighters. Let's get military access off Kildare. This will allow me to go beat up Ormond. And I'll also use my spy to build a spy network here so that we can pop them for cash. Looks like we had a pretty successful battle here. We killed 2 enemy light ships and lost nothing. I am going to send my fleet for repairs though. We caught the enemy troops out in the open, and they should get eviscerated because they have negative crossing and river penalties, and they have been stack wiped, which should allow me to separate piece these guys. They don't want a separate piece. Okay, very well. I should be able to annex Ulster. Boom. Thank you for Ulster. I also gained 6 power projection for conquering a piece of territory from my enemy. Let's turn our troops around. They're going to march back to the north. Our independence is now guaranteed by Scotland, which is a big step in potentially being able to fight off England. Scotland will take a royal marriage and an alliance from us. Let's get both. Unfortunately, I can't set Tyrconnell as a rival, so I won't be able to get power projection from this war. Oh, he already is a rival. Duh. So let's go ahead and take Donegal. Dunanal. Ulster, we're going to go ahead and core this land. It will take 17 months, but it will then become fully my territory. Stack wipe is not complete. We do have to chase down this army, but then we can begin the sieging. Our fleet is engaging in the Irish Sea again. Our naval tradition should be getting actually pretty decent from all these naval battles we've been fighting. Ooh, that's a little bit too much heat. I'm going to go ahead and try to retreat. We did lose a single ship, but that's fine. We killed 3. I am going to try to improve relations with England, purely just to slow down their desire to conquest us. We did manage to breach the walls here, which means technically we can assault. But assaulting a breached wall fortification can be really useful. I think I would like to maybe get a couple of better rolls. Plus, the siege hasn't been going on that long. Okay, looks like England has just had the War of the Roses, while they were at war with France during the 100 Years' War, so it's all kicking off for England. This is a really great way to debuff England in the early game, which gives the places that are near England a chance to actually recover and potentially build up enough power to face them. All right, let's go ahead and invade Cork. We'll take them on, and then hopefully after we devastate Cork, one of their neighbors will take them over. All right, perfect. We've taken over Donegal. Let's go ahead and send our demands. Let's core Donegal. And the reason we want to make it a core is because until we make it a core, the autonomy is set to 90%, which lowers all possible things that this place can yield for us. So getting it into a core is important, which is why we've been focusing on administrative power, because we need to core the whole of the island. The important thing about cores as well is if a place isn't a core, you don't get as much force limit from it. And force limit is what allows you to have a larger army. We've successfully conquered Ulster, so we're going to take that, and now we get a permanent claim on a whole bunch of territory. So I'm going to go ahead and quickly try to take on Leinster and Kildare. I'm going to set my relationship to England to threatened and start improving relations with France. I'll give my army like a month or two to recover before I set Kildare and Leinster as my rivals, and probably Thomond. I'm also going to recruit an extra infantry unit because this next war, I'm going to be fighting 4 different provinces, and I need just a little bit of extra troops to make sure that I can occupy all of this land to prevent the enemy from rebuilding after we attack them. We do have the cash in the bank to do this sort of thing. Right, let's declare the war. Our goal is to take Kildare. We're going to co-belligerize Thomond, which basically means we're essentially declaring war on both of them. They have more military power than us, but we have speed, and if we can strike their capital fast enough, the potential here to be able to stack wipe them does exist. We did not stack wipe. I'm going to let these guys pass, and I'm going to try to hunt down that smaller army that I just damaged. Because if I can get rid of this army, fighting this guy will be much, much easier, especially if I can fight him in my capital, where he will count as the attacker and he will get the terrain penalty, giving me an extra dice roll advantage. Thus, potentially stack wiping? Not quite, but we can chase him down. It looks like we have managed to fully core Ulster, which gives us a full force limit bonus. We just need to wait for the autonomy to come down. Now, autonomy is increasing because I have low crown lands. Because I've been at constant war and I sold off all of my crown lands to fund these wars. Don't worry, we'll solve that problem later. All right, looks like we're going to catch him here. Hopefully we can stack wipe. Boom. Stack wipe complete. Now we need to do what's called carpet sieging, which is where we put a troop on every single province to make sure the enemy cannot recruit any new units, and that we guarantee that we are the occupiers if someone else senses weakness and tries to declare the war. Let's go ahead and spoil for a fight here against Thomond. I'm going to summon another diet to increase. Also, you get more crown lands from conquering things. I'm going to increase my relationship. So these guys want me to improve my capital with base tax. However, that does cost administrative power, so I'm not going to do that one. These guys want me to improve relationship with somebody. These guys want me to have trade power. Getting trade power might be difficult unless I used boats. However, a really cheap trader could be handy, so I'm going to go ahead and try to do the burgher proposal. I might be able to get that after conquering all this land, especially if I use my boats to protect trade. The Renaissance has appeared, which is a institution. There are a variety of institutions in the game of EU4, and the Renaissance is one of the early game ones that appears basically everywhere in Europe, and then slowly spreads across the world. It's not one we have to worry too much about, because it doesn't really come into effect until we get to technology level 4. Yeah, you love to see this. By having a strong burghers with high loyalty, they're actually giving me a development cost bonus, which I'm really happy about. Another really nice thing is the Pope has allowed cardinals to spread institutions, so the Renaissance should spread really, really quickly throughout Europe. The next step is going to require us to move very, very quickly, but we'll be able to do some incredibly powerful stuff. Basically, we're going to try to double war Cork and Leinster at the exact same moment, preventing a coalition from forming. Coalitions form when you get too much aggressive expansion, and then the only person I have to worry about joining a coalition against me is England, because Scotland is my ally. And as long as I can keep them happy, that should remain so. But it looks like the 100 Years' War still rages, which is honestly great for me. Because it means while England does have claims, you can see by these yellow striped lines on me and Scotland, they're kind of tied up and they're a little bit busy. And they're going to take some time to recover from the fact that they're in the middle of a civil war as well. They got to rebuild, man. Kildare has unconditionally surrendered, which is fine, but we really need to conquer Thomond as well. Then the only place we won't have access to is Sligo. And it doesn't look like Scotland would join the war on their side because the Scottish leader is cruel, which is ideal. Oh, our alliance with Scotland got annulled. That's not good. We need to get this war done with very quickly. Okay, let's see what we can do. So the only countries that want to join a coalition against me are Leinster and Munster, which is fine. Let's take all of this land. A single day passes. We renew our alliance with Scotland. We begin coring all of this land. We immediately declare war on Sligo because Scotland will not come to their aid. And then immediately invade. Boom. Nailed them. I changed my plan slightly, but that was perfectly reasonable as far as I'm concerned. It looks like England and France have peaced out, with England actually doing pretty damn well, which is really bad for me because I need England to be weak. The War of the Roses is over. Again, really bad for me. We have maximum relations with Scotland, and we're also currying favors with them to try to improve our trust and alliance capabilities. I'm going to keep improving relations with France in the hopes that I can get them to flip to friendly. And I'm going to set my attitude to France as friendly. And they might consider me worthwhile as an ally, purely just against England. But you can see our power projection is insane right now, which I'm very happy about. Unfortunately, we are going to be dealing with rebellions for quite a while. I do have ways to deal with that. Do I want to lose 1 stability or 100 diplomatic power? Personally, as far as I'm concerned, 1 stability is about 118 administrative power, so I'd rather lose the diplomatic power right now. Admin power I need. Right now I don't really need diplomatic power for anything. I need administrative power to core my land, so I don't want to lose any if I have the choice. Now here's the thing. If I take Sligo right now, England could theoretically join a coalition against me. So what I need to do is actually declare my other wars before I piece this one out. Which means I need all of my diplomats back, because I need to declare war on these guys one by one. Okay, so we've declared this war, which means we can sue for peace on this war, although I need to wait for this diplomat to be home. We're stack wiping him. We sue for peace, we take his money, boom. And then on the same day, we complete the mission to conquer Connacht, getting us claims on this whole area down here, which allows us to immediately declare the war, like a day or two later. Boom. Ooh, I have to wait a month to start another war. I see. The developers, in their wisdom, knew that players like me might do something like this. So I have to wait an annoyingly long amount of time. But we are fighting here, reducing their fleet capabilities, taking out 2 of their ships. Let's quickly pop home for a repair, hopefully before England decides to join a coalition against me. Boom. War declared. Let's go. Let's take on Cork. We're going to make Sligo a core as well. Now, this is actually quite expensive because our war exhaustion is high. So I might buy that down a little to save on points, because war exhaustion is really bad. It lowers your manpower, it increases unrest, and it hurts your siege ability, your income. It hurts you across a bunch of dimensions. So I think buying down war exhaustion here at this phase of the game actually makes sense for me. Let's chase down these enemy armies. Let's catch them out. Hopefully a stack wipe here. Boom. Okay, now we need to do a little bit of reorganization. I'm going to leave a single troop here. This is going to be a hard place to siege down. Because they have an actual fort here, they have 1,250 men. And we need 3 times that just to be able to siege it down. So basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave a small detachment here to prevent them from recruiting units. See, enemy units will just pop up like little creeps that you have to catch if you don't carpet siege them, because they're fighting for their life here. They know they're going to get fully annexed. We can go ahead and research Military Technology 4. This will give us plus 0.5 land morale, bringing us up to a baseline of 3. It'll also give us 0.25 military tactics, which roughly increases the rate that we do damage by 50%, because this is a relative number. This is like having a 50% discipline bonus. Very, very important to get that. France is getting closer to being willing to get a royal marriage with us. And similarly, they're getting closer to having a alliance with us. A little bit more power, a little bit more consolidation, and we'll be ready. Let's go ahead and improve relations with the Pope. He should be a good friend of ours over the long period of time. I'm going to set my trade fleet to protect trade in the North Sea to hopefully complete my mission of having 15% trade power here. We'll see if they can pull that off. Coring complete on 3 out of the 4 provinces. The other one is done just now. And now we need to turn these into states. We could theoretically concentrate development, but then we would just have to buy it back. Instead, we're going to make these into full cores. This is our core territory here. And by making these full cores, We lower the autonomy limits, and we gain more benefit from their ability to give us things like force limit. England has declared war on Leinster, which means they're starting to turn their attention towards Ireland, which means I just barely sniped them out by getting these wars in. This is a very, very delicate balance that you need to strike with the England being in the 100 Years' War, because they very quickly turn to Ireland as easy places they can expand their power base. But if you can get in before they can, there's nothing they can do. They just have to accept that they don't get a foothold in Ireland aside from the Pale. France will accept a royal marriage. This is huge. That's one step towards getting the alliance. And if we are not at war, they will accept the alliance. And thankfully, England is going to go ahead and drop their troops here and assist me in the assault of this fortress. Boom. 555 days. That's a pretty bad siege. Let's dump all of our troops onto the siege of Deswiven? Killarney. I don't know how to say Deswiven. Not very good. Okay, England is able to go into a coalition against us, but we super do not give a shit. We just conquered Leinster. Let's go ahead and add this to our core territory. Boom, boom, boom. Oh my god, this is expensive. I guess it is a full core. We're going to turn Connacht into a state, which will cost us some maintenance, but it will increase the income once I fully core it. Boom. We've completed the Conquer Leinster mission. Now we just need to complete Conquer Munster, and then we'll be able to unite the clans and attack the Pale. So we're just waiting for the siege of Killarney/Cork to happen. We successfully completed the increased trade power in the North Sea. We have access to a trader. I'm going to go ahead and employ him because he's going to be extra cheap. 0.4 ducats per month for 10% trade efficiency. So he effectively pays off some of his price with the extra trade efficiency, and he costs me about what it costs to maintain 2 medieval infantry, which I'm going to build another pair of right now. Now we could lose 5 prestige here, or we could take the last jousting tournament. Plus 10% morale of armies is huge at this phase of the game, and it also gives you army tradition. Now it does cost me administrative power, money, and splendor, but I'm happy to spend all of those for the morale of armies. I mean, our prestige is currently at 100, which is giving us a 10% boost to a morale of armies. Our power projection is at 80, giving us an 8% boost to morale of armies. Our morale of armies is insane right now, which means this is going to be the best time ever to potentially look to declare war on England. Now, we do have 2 options. We can look to fast declare war, but more importantly, we need to actually curry favors with both Scotland and France to increase their trust and also actually call them to war, because they will not go to war if you don't have enough favors to justify them joining. Do I want 13 ducats or 10 papal influence? I think papal influence is a little bit harder to get, so I'm going to take that instead. Let's call it diet with the estates. I am going to need a lot of manpower, so I'm tempted to do the proposal of the nobility. It'll recover me a nice chunk of manpower and give me an excuse to develop this province with a couple points of manpower. Let's encourage development in Leinster. That will increase the cost of maintaining this. So we will lose a bit of money here, but then I can improve the manpower here by spending military power. This will give me a small boost in the maximum manpower for a cost of about 100 military power, which is fine. We then gain some manpower back, and we are burning a lot of manpower on sieges here. I think we've burnt about 3,000 manpower just in casualties to attrition. And considering we get 138 manpower per month, that is rough. The only person who cares about this is England. Let's recall our person who went to the Pope. Bish bash bosh, we have conquered Ireland in record time, in just over 12 years or something. But this is where we get to a fork in the road. And that most important fork is that we get France as an ally. And do we look to attack England immediately while they're still weak? Oh, sorry, let me go ahead and conquer Munster, unite the clans. So we get yearly prestige and yearly legitimacy, and we get a permanent claim on the Pale. And once we take the Pale, we can actually continue to decide to conquer into the UK. Now, Scotland will join the war, as will France, but France has a truce with England, and destabilizing France is not good. I think what we're going to do is take a little bit of time to curry favors with my allies, increase their trust, maybe even request money from them. We're going to curry favors with France so that we can get 10 favors, which is what we need for them to join war. And now we're going to start the consolidation of our gains. The very first thing we're going to do is seize lands from the estates. I could then sell that back for money, but I need my autonomy to start coming down. So staying above 20 is important to me now. I'm going to disband the Free Company mercenaries that I hired, and instead I'm going to hire the Flemish Company, because they have plus 5% infantry combat ability. And I'm going to use that mercenary company to put down rebellions. I'm going to set autonomous suppression on my mainline army. I'm going to ask the nobles for a general with 60 tradition, so he should be an absolute god. And now I'm going to do something really crazy. I'm going to decrease autonomy. Remember, every 1% of autonomy lowers basically everything I get from this province. So by forcibly lowering autonomy, I basically guarantee that I'm going to be dealing with a massive wave of rebellions, but I'm going to use mercenaries to crush those rebellions, meaning it won't actually burn my manpower, and I'm suppressing rebellions with my main army. So my hope is that the sheer amount of cash flow, you can see here, the money I get per month is going up. I think my current base cash, right, is 6.54. If I go through and decrease autonomy in every possible province, it's now 7. So that's like, what, a ducat every 2 months? That's like 6 ducats per year I just added to my income. Now, granted, my revolt risk just spiked hard because I basically did a government crackdown. Let's go ahead and take Diplotech 4. Boom. This gives us access to the marketplace, which is a building we will want to build eventually, particularly in Cork, which has a natural harbour, giving it a boost to its trade power. We're also going to want to upgrade Cork's trade centre. These are things that we will get to, however. And now just look at that list of rebels. People are not happy with what I've just done. The other really nice thing is by lowering autonomy in all of these lands, I've actually increased my naval force limit, increased my manpower limit, increased the amount of sailors I have access to, and I can begin protecting trade here. I will add another 4 ships. So the Thommondian separatists are getting ready to rebel. I'm going to position my mercenaries nearby so that we can leap upon them the second that they spawn. We do have a plutocratic coup looming because the burghers have over 100% influence. We will have to cut that down. That's where the seizing land every 5 years comes in. I'm going to ask Scotland for soldiers because my biggest problem right now isn't money, it's actually soldiers. So they're going to send me 1,000 manpower for the favors that I've accumulated with them. This will allow me to restore my manpower pool much faster. We've now fully cored the entire island of Ireland, and we can lower autonomy in these 2 places as well. Boom. We're up to 16 force limit, making us quite powerful, and we're up to 20 naval force limit. I'm very, very happy with that. And our income is up to nearly 9 per month. So we're now comparable to Scotland in economic power. We're still quite a bit behind France, and I'm going to go ahead and start drilling my armies in preparation for the war. Drilling my armies has a lot of benefits. The first one is the armies themselves will gain drill, which increases the amount of damage they do, or reduces the amount of damage they take. It'll also increase my army professionalism, and the higher my army professionalism, I believe my units will do more damage. I don't remember. But yeah, I think using a combination of mercenaries and professional soldiers will get me through this. I'm going to grant my nobles castle rights because I want that 20% fort maintenance. It's very, very powerful because the more forts I have, the better my army tradition will be. Even though I don't really like the fort here in Tyrone, it is giving me army tradition, and army tradition does give you morale of armies. And morale of armies is going to be very important when I decide to fight England. England actually has really poor manpower reserves right now. Now might be the time to strike. I'm going to hire the Gallo Glass, and I think once my fleets are at 20 trade ships, that might be when I look to strike. Rebellion or not, all I have to do is hold the Pale for long enough and let my allies do the fighting for me. England is going to have to fight like a 3-front war, okay? They need to fight in Ireland, they need to fight in Scotland, and they need to fight in France. And all I care about is getting a hold of the Pale. And so Careful Micro will allow me to take them. Now, Austria, Switzerland, and Portugal would be called into this war. France has an insane amount of power here, and will do most of the heavy lifting, at least when it comes to the continent. I think we'll strike in 90 days when this ship is built. All right, use our mercenaries to suppress rebellions, like a good autocrat should. Second rebellion popped. Now, the nice thing about rebellions is when there's been a rebellion recently, there cannot be another rebellion. Yeah, so for another 10 years, we won't see a rebellion. I would love to take this morale of armies guy, but unfortunately, he's too expensive. 3.3 ducats a month is just too much money, even if ultimately it would be awesome. Okay, so we have our 20 trade ships. We can't get any more. Let's park them in Sligo, safe harbour, cancel drilling, and declare the war. Moment of truth for Ireland here, lads. Can we make this work? We're promising both Scotland and France land in this war. So if we can take a single province for them, they will not be upset about this. Oh wow, that rebellion timing was grim. 2 rebels on the first day of the war. Now the important thing is that we deploy our fleets to support our allies, particularly when they have advantage. Naval combat bonus off owned coast is huge. It looks like they've got mostly landing fleets. Do they have? It looks like this might have been a landing fleet for Portugal. So if we can take out their transport ships, that means they won't be able to get troops to actually support England's combat. And France is coming in now with their battle fleets. Excellent. This is the kind of war where Our naval supremacy is easy to be challenged because the enemy has a lot of carracks, a lot of heavy ships, whereas we're relying heavily on light ships and galleys. So if we can get an easy win early in the war on the naval front, that's a big deal. We killed four ships and lost 3. We have conquered the Pale. Now the important thing is we hold the Pale for all time. As long as we hold the Pale, we've achieved our war goal and we've united the clans against the UK, or against England rather. And now if we can use Scotland as a defensive buffer to fight England, use our fleet to prevent hostile landings on our land, and give France the space that they need to reconquer Normandy, Guyenne and Gascony, I think this war could really work out for us. Scotland is locked into a bad battle, and it's a question of, do I want to go in after them? My morale of armies is so high I might be able to help them. They took a genuinely awful battle though. I'm going to retreat immediately because I don't want to take too many casualties too early in the war. This is the problem with your allies. They make bad decisions all the damn time and force you to clean up their mess. Meanwhile, France is actually being useful. A bunch of their little vassals are running around doing useful things. Getting us war score, that's the key thing. Now here's the thing, we only need 23 war score to hit a neutral on this peace value. And every month, the fact that we own the Pale, we're getting a very small tick of war score. So we just have to be careful and not let Scotland lead us into these stupid battles. We do, however, have to try and help every time one of our allies gets into a naval battle. We have to try to assist because we have the strongest navy out of all of our friends. So even though they're YOLOing in, we have to YOLO in after them and hope that Scotland decides to bring their fleet down here. Now, we lost a lot of ships for that, and that's fine, because now I'm withdrawing to just defending this crossing and defending Ireland itself. And I'm hoping that France can get us some war score over here. France, you beautiful, beautiful person. It's really unfortunate that Scotland decided to try to take the battle here in this stupid territory where they had the negative penalty, when we could have taken the battle here and had a +1 dice roll in our favor instead of working against us. Very, very annoying. But now I'm reluctant to leave this passage because I've already lost so many troops and so many boats trying to defend my allies. Scotland is spoiling for a fight again, so I will fight with them in the Highlands. And my goal is, if the fight goes poorly, to retreat to Tyrone. That's fine, you can have a little bit of separatism. This battle here may go poorly, but if I can pile enough troops in, it might go in our favor. Because I take over and my morale takes over, which means we do more morale damage. We've killed the first wave of their troops, and now we're losing, so we're going to choose to retreat. Now, Scotland retreated the wrong way, which is fine. Oh, England got to do the crossing without... not good. And they caught one of my mercenary armies. Thankfully, they didn't catch my real army. Oh, my fleet got kicked out. That sucks. Scotland is just choosing so many bad fights right now, and I need to stop YOLOing in after them. Oh, I need this battle to go really well. Fucking Scotland, dude. Scotland fucked me. Hold on. We're reloading that autosave. I'm refusing to let Scotland torpedo this war for me. All right, I learned my lesson. Listen, don't follow the AI. Let them make their own mistakes. I should have just tried to hold this goddamn island. I even said it. I was like, oh yeah, I shouldn't follow the AI. I should just defend the island. And I did it anyway. You know what? We re-roll, boys. Editor, hide the evidence. No, I don't care. See, I'm not playing this for, I don't care about Iron Man. I'm playing this for fun. And part of the fun for me is like, okay, if we follow down the chain of events where I accept that I did the dumb thing and I followed Scotland into war, then I have to restart the game and play through to that point again. If I just say like, okay, Scotland follows through, we lose the war, blah, 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 game over, I stop having fun. Or I can be like, okay, that's what's going to happen. Now I go back to the point where I had a decision, and it's like I get to play a different timeline, right? So, some people say it's saves coming. I say it's me having fun. I'm not even playing on Iron Man, dude. Like, I literally could open the console and give myself, like, all the cheats. But yeah, Scotland's on their own. That's my take. All we want is the Pale. I'm going to put my fleet into Cork to try to keep it safe, because there's a fortress in Cork, which means they can't be kicked out easily. I'm going to park my troops in Ulster, because that'll give England a crossing penalty. I'm never moving my troops from here, unless it's like detaching my mercenaries to go deal with separatists. Now, there is an opportunity here while this fleet is detaching and deploying these troops for me to like attack this fleet, or potentially to attack these guys. But I'm not going to do that, because my goal is to hold Ulster. I don't care if Scotland gets wrecked, okay? I hold the Pale, I hold Ulster, and I prevent England from landing. Yeah, Scotland, you dumbass, what are you doing? Why don't you just play defensively, bro? Your life would be so much easier if you just played defensively. Now, another thing I can hope is if France can take out Portugal, I can white piece out Portugal, lowering England's total power in the fight. God, Scotland is such a stone around my neck, dude. I think it's a good time to start boosting stability too. The national unrest is nice. Also, Ulster revolted. It's good for me. It means I don't have to deal with revolts down here anymore. At least for another 10 years. My fleet got attacked, but I should be able to retreat before we take major casualties. Yeah, no major casualties. Close though, very, very close. Poor Scotland, dude. They're just getting kicked around. They really need to retreat to me. Ooh, one of the English armies is on the mainland. Which means if Scotland took some time and actually healed their troops up, we could probably fight England here. But this is great for me. One of England's armies is on the mainland. They're running around, getting wrecked. France is down here, kicking around Austria and Switzerland. Could not ask for more. Scotland, why are you doing a naval invasion, bro? With it, I just don't know anymore. I think he's like actually throwing, dude. Do I engage this? This is insanity if I engage this. But if he just took the time to heal his troops, we could take this. Half of England's army's on the fucking wrong continent. Do I YOLO buy more mercs and just go in? Please, Scotland, just stop. The madness needs to end. Okay, English army in France. English army in Scotland. Actual opportunity to attack. Why would we get a crossing penalty? This is our defensive terrain. He has no general in this army. Attack, 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 attack. He has no general. He's generalless. He can't assign a general. He's taking a -1 penalty. I have 5. Oh, baby. An actual opportunity to use my 4 morale against his 3.6. Huge. Now, his cavalry are doing a lot of damage on the flanks, but my morale damage is way better, although he's rolling incredibly well. Now, let's have a look. Honestly, pretty even casualties, but we did win the battle, and that's important. We bought time for Scotland. I'm retreating to Ulster. Get back to Ulster, boys. Mission accomplished. We bought time. France? Let's not talk about France right now, okay? France was supposed to be the one who would carry us. They have less troops than me. France, what are you doing? Get it together, France. Does that mean I need to go on the offensive to buy them time? I don't know. I don't want to go on the offensive. Okay, we did get a revolt. We need to clean that up. Supposedly the White Squadron has troops on it that I need to be worried about. That's what the naval invasion is telling me. Oh, sea battle. Possible chance to snipe some ships. Jumping out in there. Okay, they retreated. Oh, France. Oh, France. Get your shit. You need to consult. You need to wipe these stacks out. Like, take these out up here. Where's the English army? Yes, Scotland, retake your capital. Good job, France. Keep fighting. Keep fighting. Perfect. Scotland got into a battle. I'm going to quickly dip in to see if I can help out a little. But I'm dipping out the second this battle turns against us. Boom. Battle turned against us. Dip the fuck out. Scotland, did you get stack wiped? Scotland! Do I have to do everything? Scotland needs to get their shit together. Like, seriously. Alright, let's have a look. France has still got high desire to stay in the war. Scotland's desire is low. But honestly, that's down to them just being completely trash at defending their territory. France is preoccupied with sieges that they should not be preoccupied with, in my opinion. Sure, Calais, important port, long term. But you really need to focus on clearing out these militaries down here. I'm going to call it diet. I am going to take the burger proposal, A, because it gives me production, gives me loyalty with the burgers, and 30 ducats. I'm going to take that. So we'll pop in here, we'll encourage development, boom, drop 2 points of Diplo. Because remember, Diplo isn't very important. Now that won't get me a whole lot of money right now. It does get me trade value. This is a long-term investment, and we'll get an immediate injection of cash and loyalty. Ooh, England already has 17,000 soldiers. We can go on the offensive to England. Big. England's run out of manpower. This is why mercenaries are so useful. We can catch them. I don't care about Cork. Listen, be separatists. Take your damn time. We got an opportunity to save the war. Oh, why would you do this to me, Scotland? I'm still trying to repair. Retreat. England recruited a lot of mercenaries. They're completely out of manpower. Scotland has some manpower. France still has some manpower. We're looking okay. France, why are you letting this happen? Why are you letting this happen, France? It's not that important to take Calais. I kind of have to deal with these separatists because they can enforce their demands very soon. Though unfortunately, I have to drop this siege in favor of Scotland's on their own for now. Our manpower reserves are getting depleted by these rebellions, but I think all the rebellions are done for a while. France, where did your army go, France? You've only got 20k troops, France. What are you doing? Buy mercenaries. Oh God, our enemies have twice our power. Austria is a big problem. That's for real. What are you invading Austria for? Oh wait, maybe, actually, could I piece them out? We can take admin tech. This will give us access to churches, and we can do some interesting things with churches, mainly increase our tax base by about 40%. These mercenaries have served me well, but I am going to go ahead and drop them in favor of recruiting new ones with full manpower pools. Oh, sweet Scotland, why? Why do you do this to me? I am your ally. Okay, there's no English ships that I can spot. So we're going to try to hit these Portuguese ships hard with Scotland. Here come the English ships. And retreat. Here's the thing. We totally had what it took to win this war. But my allies have just like gone full dumbass mode. But if my allies decide to separate peace, that's no big deal. Because all I got to do is hold this crossing. And prevent any landings. And here's the thing, I control the Pale. That's worth 16 war score. My war exhaustion is starting to get high, which is increasing national unrest. I'm going to buy that down with Diplo favor twice. That'll keep me in the war longer, baby. Scotland has decided to engage. I will assist, even though I hate it. England has decided to engage. I retreat. You have so much manpower. I wish you would build troops. What's your issue? Paris has fallen. Not good. France might get knocked out of this war. Unless this battle goes incredibly. Which it is if they would just actually fight these goddamn troops. The Royal Navy is invading Donegal. They're going to arrive on August. They decided not to invade. That's fine. Oh, Scotland peaced out. Scotland panicked and peaced out, but I control the Pale still. So if France decides to peace out, it's just me against England. And I think with the battle score being 0, because Scotland was the main contributor of bad battle score, we might be able to turn this around. It all hinges on whether or not France is unhinged and can actually get their troops like in one location to fight rather than having these like dribs and drabs of random troops all over the map. But the nice thing is Scotland won't give England military access, which means England can't use this crossing. Neither can I anymore. And all I got to do is prevent naval landings. Good luck, France. Oh, we're going to revolt. We're going to take them on. I wish I could tell France to just fight. I wish I could box select this and right click on the enemy. France peaced out. They cede territory. France, I cannot believe you messed this up. Here's the huge moment though. Will England give me the Pale? Relative strength of alliances and the length of the war. All right, baby, time to hunker down. Fortress Ireland arc begins. Ireland stands alone. Tyrone stands alone against England, Austria, Portugal, Switzerland. Can it be done? Can we hold the Pale? We shall see. This should be called the Pale, not Pale, by the way. So England took 2 provinces off Scotland and 2 provinces off France, which honestly kind of sucks. We're going to have to help reconquer those. Every month that goes by, the length of war goes in my favor. And England's war exhaustion ticks up just a scooch. Here we go. It looks like they're moving their landing fleets. They have a blockade fleet in the Irish Sea. My troops stand in the Pale waiting. Looks like England is committed to taking the -2 crossing penalty. I should probably recruit at least 1 unit of cavalry. Well, no, there's no point. I will recruit a unit of infantry though. I would like to buy stability, but the problem is right now my stability cost is really high. So I'll probably do the proposal of the nobility. Sweden is rivaled with England, so that'd be a good move for me, I think. Right, -2 crossing penalty for England, plus they get a -1 on terrain. Sadly, I do not get to buy the adaptive combat terrain bonus. The damage is insane. The damage is insane. We're wrecking them. We're wrecking them. And then they're retreating. I get the stack wipe. Boom goes England's manpower. Peace me out, please. Okay. Gonna kick out these advisors in the hope that I find a morale of armies or a discipline advisor. This is a key moment here. 11,000 Portuguese troops arrive on the 19th of October, and the Army of Scotland arrives on the 25th of October. So we want Portugal's troops to land, and we want to get a chance to fight them without England's troops getting a chance to land, which means we're going to need to deploy our trade fleet to intercept this and prevent the landing, or at least just delay it. Or at the very least, we can delay England's landing and just do a little bit of dancing. Portugal has decided to go away for now. England is going to attempt the landing. England cancels the landing. I'm up to 33% war score. Oh, I'm so close. Okay, we took a bad engagement, but we only lost some health and no actual ships. That's fine. Excellent. We have access to the Renaissance in Tyrone now, so it should spread quite quickly throughout our lands. We could speed it up if we wanted to by doing an advancement effort. I think I will do that. Try and get that institution done a little bit quicker. Faster I get those institutions, the cheaper these technologies will be. England's attempting a landing in the Pale. I'm willing to fight them there. They will get a -2, possibly -3 crossing penalty. -2 crossing penalty. We've roughly equal battle lines. My morale is similar. Oh, they do have a tech level on me, which is not good. Oh, I won! Oh, I won! Oh my god, I barely won. Oh my god, it was down to the wire. Oh my god. I even panic recruited the Free Company. If I engage this fleet, I don't know if that would bounce them back. They accept my demands. Can I get any gold? Oh, I can get some gold. Oh, I can get some gold. Hold on. Can I get Portugal and stuff to peace out? Oh shit. I can get some money out of this. All right, I think I'm going to wait a month to see if I can kill this stack that just dropped and squeak out a tiny chunk more cash. I can get 592 ducats and the Pale. Bring back that diplomat. I think the relative strength of the alliance has shifted slightly. Okay, I'm just going to take the 245 gold. I got the Pale. I got my land. And I have united the clans. Boom. Beyond the Pale. Complete. Now I have claims on England and Scotland itself. And I'm going to call that a successful unification of Ireland. We do have to wait for quite a bit of administrative technology to actually form Ireland. But there you go. That is my, I don't know if I call it a tutorial, but my attempt to unify Ireland in under 20 years. I believe I managed to do it in. Thank you guys for watching. I love you all very much. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.